One of the first terms that you want to become familiar with as you're trying to learn the golf swing or rebuild the golf swing that you already have is a term called neuromuscular reeducation. Basically what this is your brain or your nervous system has pathways already developed that you've trained it to do over time that help you perform movements more efficiently. These pathways are not necessarily from your brain's perspective wrong or right, even though your golf swing may be terrible and you may, as David Faraday once quoted, look like an octopus falling out of a tree. That pathway to your brain is all it knows. Your nervous system created that pathway because you trained it to do those movements. Whether you meant to or not, each time that you repeat that faulty movement or that bad golf swing, your brain is reinforcing that pathway to make it more efficient. This process is called myelination or myelinization, and basically what it means is that these pathways are built up of neurons, and these neurons, as you continue to repeat something over and over, become thicker and thicker, or with myelin that basically is like an insulator, and it allows these electrical signals to travel faster. So the more you repeat something, the more efficient you become at it, right or wrong. Whether it's a good movement or a bad movement, your brain doesn't understand the difference. And so over time, this is why it becomes so hard to learn new movements in the golf swing, because you've repeated these things literally thousands and thousands of times. Every faulty movement that you've made in your golf swing, your brain has learned each time and tried to reinforce that. And it's a complicated process. It takes a little bit of time to build these pathways, but it does happen every time you swing a golf club. So what we have to do is we have to break down those pathways and build new ones when we're trying to build correct movement patterns, and that is the process of neuromuscular reeducation. Basically, we are taking your nervous system and giving it new information so that it creates new pathways, so that over time those movements, the correct movements, become more efficient. And that's it's a very specific process, and it's a very important one for you to understand what is actually going on and how it happens, because so many golfers get frustrated that they don't make changes in their golf swing when what they're doing is they're actually going against the way that their brain actually learns. There is a very specific way that this happens, and you need to have all the pieces of the puzzle, and so that's what we're going to talk about. This slide is, of course, called How the Brain Learns. So one important thing that is missed by a lot of golf instructors is a lot of the better golf instructors out there know how to tell you what they want you to do. They know exactly what they're asking you to do, but the problem is they don't know how to tell you how to do it. So for instance, a golf instructor might tell you, I want you to turn your shoulders 90 degrees to the target at the top of your backswing. Well, okay, but how do you want me to do that? We've talked about, do you want me to push my left shoulder under my chin? Do you want me to pull my right shoulder back? Do you want me to use my obliques? Do you want me to use my arms and sling them around my body? How do you want me to do that motion? And that's where the rotary swing is different. We get very specific in the exact muscles that are designed to create those movements. And so that is the first thing that you need to understand, is that you need to appeal to all of your senses when you're trying to rebuild these pathways, and you need to understand the how versus just the what. So the what is important. That's the intellectual knowledge of what it is you need to do in the golf swing. The club needs to be in this position, or your body needs to be here, or your joints need to be aligned this way. But the catch is your brain needs to know how to do it. And because, again, each time you do it incorrectly, even though the club may be in the position that might be right, the body could be in a terrible position, and you're going to keep repeating that pattern over and over until you learn how to move your body correctly, because that's all we're doing. Everything in the golf swing is related to how your muscles fire. That's it. That's the only way that golf club moves, is when your muscles contract. And so you need to understand how to contract those muscles, which muscles to contract, and when to do it. And that's basically what the rotary swing is done, is it's given you this platform for understanding how to move the golf club, not just what to do with it. So once you understand that, the next thing you need to understand is that learning is a biological process. Learning the golf swing the way that it's been taught for the past 50, 60 years, as you've seen with the handicap staying the same for as long as they have, is completely ineffective, 110%. Going and taking a golf lesson and getting a couple tips and you going out on your own, hitting balls at full speed on the range, trying to groove that pattern is ineffective. That is not the way that your brain learns. Your brain does not learn at 100 miles an hour. It learns very, very slowly. Imagine the first time you ever sat down at the piano. All those keys there, and you're told to play a song or taught to play a song. At the first time you play it, you're going to hunt and peck your way through it very, very, very slowly until that pathway becomes reinforced enough that your brain can fire those electrical signals very quickly and communicate with the rest of your nervous system, get these muscles to fire and contract in the way that we need them to, so that the song comes out the way that it needs to in the right